I awoke to the sound of distant chanting, my head throbbing with pain. I tried to move, but my hands and feet were bound with thick ropes. The cold, damp ground beneath me sent shivers through my body. Blinking, I struggled to focus on my surroundings. I was in a small, dimly lit cave. Shadows danced on the rough stone walls, cast by flickering torches. My men were nowhere to be seen. Panic began to set in as I realized the gravity of my situation. "You're finally awake," a voice said from the darkness. I turned my head and saw Sir Roderick standing over me, a cold smile on his face. "Good. I was beginning to worry I'd hit you too hard." "Why?" I managed to croak, my throat dry and sore. "Why are you doing this, Roderick?" He knelt down, his eyes gleaming with a strange intensity. "Because, Your Highness, this kingdom needs a new leader. Someone who understands the true power that lies within this forest. You betrayed us," I spat, anger rising within me. "You betrayed the king, my family, and our people." Roderick's smile widened. "Betrayal is such a harsh word. Think of it as realignment. The power in this forest, the dark magic you saw, it's more potent than anything in our kingdom. With it, I will reshape our land into something greater." "You've gone mad," I whispered, feeling a sense of hopelessness creeping in. "The dark magic will consume you." He stood up, looking down at me with disdain. "You underestimate me, Alistair. I have harnessed its power. I will become the new king, and you will be nothing but a simple commoner. Thunderstruck will never choose you to be king," I said, fighting the ropes. Sir Roderick just looked at me and smiled. "Not now perhaps. But when your father passes, there will be no heir to the throne, I'll be next in line, and that stupid sword will have to obey me." Before I could respond, the chanting grew louder, echoing through the cave. Sir Roderick put his hand on my chest, and what felt like a jolt of electricity surged through my body. I gasped, feeling an intense, burning sensation that quickly turned into a numbing cold. "You see, Alistair," Sir Roderick said, his voice dripping with malice, "the power of dark magic is limitless. It can reshape reality itself." I tried to fight against the ropes, but my strength was rapidly fading. My vision blurred, and I felt a strange sensation overtaking me, as if my very essence was being pulled apart and reassembled. "This spell," Sir Roderick continued, "will ensure that you are no longer a threat to my plans. You will be reborn, powerless and forgotten." My body began to shrink, the world around me growing larger and more intimidating. The ropes slipped away as my limbs grew smaller and weaker. I felt my clothes hanging loosely, far too big for my rapidly diminishing frame. "Enjoy your new life, Alistair," Sir Roderick sneered, as a helpless little girl.
The transformation was complete. I looked down at my tiny hands, my once strong and capable body now that of a child. My heart pounded in my chest as fear and confusion overwhelmed me. I tried to speak, but my voice came out high-pitched and trembling. You can't do this," I managed to say, my small voice quivering with emotion. "Oh, but I can," Sir Roderick replied, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "And I have. You will live out your days in obscurity, while I take the throne and reshape this kingdom in my image." He turned and walked away, leaving me alone in the dimly lit cave. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized the gravity of my situation. I was no longer Prince Alistair, heir to the throne. I was a powerless little girl, with no way to fight back against the dark forces that had upended my life. "Guards!" I heard Sir Roderick call out. I heard a group of solders come into the cave. "There's a girl in that cave, it's really a dark sorcerer in disguise. Capture her and take her into custody. She killed Prince Alistair." The soldiers marched towards me, their armor clinking ominously in the dim light. Panic surged through me. I had to find a way out before they reached me. With my small, nimble form, I scrambled to my feet and dashed towards the narrow passage at the back of the cave. "Stop her!" one of the soldiers shouted, but my new size allowed me to slip through gaps they couldn't follow. The passage was tight and twisted, but I forced myself forward, driven by the fear of capture. As I navigated the narrow tunnels, my mind raced. I had to find someone who could help me reverse the spell. But who could I trust? Sir Roderick's betrayal had shaken my faith in those closest to me. The tunnel eventually opened into a dense part of the forest, the moonlight filtering through the canopy above. I took a moment to catch my breath, my small chest heaving with effort. The cold night air bit my exposed skin, and I realized how vulnerable I was. I need to find shelter, I whispered to myself. I looked around and found another small cave. The mouth of the cave was just big enough for me to get inside and hide, but it was too small for the guards to notice. I ran inside and hid the best I could. I could see them run past the cave not noticing. I was only wearing my mail tunic, everything else was left at the cave where Sir Roderick had held me. The guard's footsteps faded into the distance, and I allowed myself to breathe a sigh of relief. I couldn't stay in this cave forever, but for now, it was my sanctuary. Exhausted, I curled up in the back of the small cave, shivering from the cold and fear. As I drifted off to sleep, my thoughts were consumed by the injustice of what had happened and the determination to find a way to undo the curse.